I would like to keep today. Dove sei, Giulia, adesso?
Sono a Milano.
Io sono in Veneto, ci siamo scambiate.
Bene, sì.
Sono a Treviso.
Bene, bene. Rimani per il ponte?
No, torno al lago fra 2 giorni. Torno al lago di Como.
Oh, che bello.
E poi vado a Tokyo. Domenica vado a Tokyo.
Bellissimo.
Pronta per altre 14 ore di volo.
Sei azionista di maggioranza delle compagnie aeree, Orietta, ormai.
Veramente. Dovrò decidere qual è la compagnia migliore in cui investire e comprare un volo aereo. Comprare un apparecchio.
We already have 17 people connected. So Orietta and Julia, if you want, we can start with the presentation. And well, for all, at the end, we're going to have some interaction with Orietta and Julia in order to have some questions or insights about the industry.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So thank you, Claudia. Buenos dias. Good morning to everyone. Ecco, Marina sta partecipando in questo momento. So today's session, it's proceeding the perspective and the challenges of the Italian, let me say, luxury and premium brands versus the international competition. And the angle we want to have today, and the reason why I invited Giulia Massarenti, which I say welcome, Giulia.
Thank you.
Benvenuta, is a communication angle. So communication, social media, and I work at analyzing with Giulia to give you a perspective of how Italian brands adapted to the online world, adapted to a new social media way to communicate themselves, mainly for the domestic market. Even if you remember at the beginning of our session, I was explaining that the majority of Italian brands export. In this case, I asked to Giulia to analyze someone which, beside to exporting, it's also focusing on the domestic market. And this is an interesting angle to see and understand how they move. So, Giulia, I give you the stage. And so Giulia prepared a presentation for her experience, because her experience is in this field. I think it's interesting, Giulia, if you can briefly introduce your professional experience, mainly with the companies that you had. Thank you.
So I prepare also a quick slide about it. So I'm in the fashion industry since more or less 13 years. I started working more in magazines in Spain and in London and in Japan, working for Vogue España, Vogue Japan, and few independent magazines in London. And then I changed a bit my role, and I started as working in the PR sector. So I started in London working with Ralph Lauren. Then I worked for the second biggest eyewear player in Italy, which is Safilo. I had a parenthesis working for a fashion contest for students, the one who launched then Navasalia of Balenciaga and Matthew Blasi of Bottega Veneta. And then I was working for a niche independent avant-garde brand near Venice. Beside that, I was also teaching in different Italian universities such as Polimoda and IED. So today, as Orietta briefly introduced, we are gonna check a few topics connected with the actual scenario, which is the one of a crisis in the luxury sector, and then we will analyze how different segments are reacting to this. So like the top luxury brand, we will see a few examples, and also we will see the growth of premium brand, and we will also analyze the way they are communicating and doing marketing and growing strategy. So without much further ado, so we all know we are living in a historical moment that is really chaotic and difficult in terms of problematic aspect. The fashion system is struggling. We have a global financial crisis, we have unrest, we have wars. Everything is also very connected with climate crisis. We have clients complaining for an excessive corporatized approach, creatives as well. There were scandals connected to problems in the supply chains. Retailers and e-commerce are failing to attract clients. There is also a crisis in creativity with the dominance of the merchandising, and also we see a bit of brands homologation and client fatigue. The results are visible, especially in this moment in which we are seeing financial results for this year. So a lot of top luxury brands are experiencing low sales. The US market as well. LVMH for the first time is experiencing a minus 5% sales. Kering as well, especially with Gucci. All these aspects are also connected generally with other crises. So the climate crisis is also impacting the sales, creating problems in the supply chain, also creating more problems, for example, in selling winter collection, with buyers that are canceling appointments and travels. So in general, the biggest question is how to deal and when this huge luxury crisis will be solved. On the other hand, one of the reactions is also a surge on minimalism, obviously, because this is a more careful product that is much more easy, that is easier to sell in difficult times. There is also, but this is something that just independent magazines are pointing out more. So, for example, Style Zeitgeist, also a general feeling of lack of creativity. Stores are much more full of merchandising, and this is apparently not letting people dream as before. And also there is a very strong concentration on information that are coming from data. But as a very interesting American designers, Joseph Kiefer said, data only shows you the past, it doesn't show you the future. So now a lot of brands will need to understand mostly what the future will be, not relying on the past. So
can I jump inside a little bit, because you already, I like sometimes to point it out some aspects. Yeah, you took this aspect about data. So I wanted to enter here because, as you know, our audience today, it's composed by entrepreneurs, and those entrepreneurs represent manufacture in fashion apparel of Mexico. And of course, Mexico is a country where online is very important and data are very important. And since I completely agree in what Julia is saying, and even just this morning, I had a session with South Korean entrepreneurs, and we were talking about that now collecting only numbers is not enough, because when you work in a physical store and when you work with real spenders, a spender of means consumer that want to buy small brands, so brands that are really authentic, we need to have real data. So I see, Julia, you took some comments, not only from Italy, but you took some comments from Germany, from London. So why this? Is this because Milan is an European view, or you wanted to grab the conversation from an European point of view?
I think because the future is much more connected with both what we now call glocal, so both global and local mixture. So obviously we have to think about the situation in Italy and in Milan, but because the Made in Italy is also so connected with foreigner companies, is also a global approach is necessary. So we have to consider both sides.
Okay, perfect.
And also, I wanted to include, I also included more quotes of international magazine, because so in English we can understand more, but after we will also have information coming from Italian media that are more concentrated.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So in this very problematic moment, we have it looks like we have a situation that is that has a bit of two sides. We have top players that are struggling and not achieving the result they want, but also there is a part of established brand that are very coherent with their identity, values, and strategic business plans that are resisting the crisis and are the ones who are showing solid growth. For example, Brunello Cucinelli has shown 19% growth in operating profit. And this is one of the most interesting cases that we will later analyze. On a more international side, for example, Hermes is showing continuous growth, so sales are up 11.3%, and outside of Europe, the ROE is, for example, seeing an incredible growth. Another brand that is starting to be very successful in the last year, and by the way, it is also celebrating 100 years, is Loro Piana. We can see that all of these brands that we are speaking about are very connected with one of the topics that we are speaking more about in the last year, that is the one of stealth wealth or quiet luxury. Louis Vuitton, Loro Piana is part of LVMH group, so they don't always reveal exact profits, but for example, Erwan Rambul, that is the global head of consumer and retail research at SBC, said, my understanding is that Loro Piana is doing very well. Clearly, these are tough times for luxury, but the higher end has been a lot more resilient. Brands like Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, Hermès, and to a certain extent Zegna, where you get the sense that you are paying more, but hopefully the product is longer lasting and not really seasonal in nature. I think they are at the right place right now. It's interesting to notice that I want to add this article that is Loro Piana rides high through recession in ultra luxury sector, and I wanted to point out that this was 2013. So these are brands that are always proving their resilience in difficult times, because this is the values for which they stand, that is real quality, timeless pieces, and in most of the cases, these are aspects that are strongly connected with the made in Italy and with all the important manufacturers and producers that we have in this high quality supply chain. This is one of the declaration of the CEO of Loro Piana, no? And it is said in this article from the Financial Times. Loro Piana existed before quiet luxury and will exist afterwards. There are a lot of things about the brand that are not quiet at all. If we think about it, now we hear a lot about this concept because we are in an historical moment in which we are used to push a lot, also thanks to the social media, nice, cool, interesting names for trends. But if we go back to the roots of quiet luxury, for example, the clients have always the real rich individuals, family. Here we have Marella Agnelli, Gianni Agnelli, the Kennedys, the royals of England, like really rich players and clients and individuals have always been dressed this way. These are some pictures from today, but also from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 70s. I mean, this is not just a trend. This is a constant style in certain refined and very sophisticated parts of the population. So the main questions about these specific trends now are how top brands are responding to try to make profit with this aesthetic, with this lifestyle, and also how this strategy will affect the system, the fashion system in the future. Because a lot of these quiet luxury brands are very connected with a very minimal aesthetic, but on the contrary, super top materials and incredible craftsmanship. Most of them are not just expensive, they are super expensive. And the fact that they are now growing more and more is connected with the fact that luxury brands are trying to cater the so-called VIC, so very important client, or high net worth individuals. So this 1% of the population that spend 200 times more than an average client. So we saw nowadays that luxury brands are fighting to approach this niche in the market. What is also something on which we have to deeply think about is that if that 1% of the population will be enough to really help a lot of businesses. Sources like Bain, for example, say that this 1% of top luxury customer is driving 40% of luxury sales. And the goal is really to engage and keep these individuals as key spenders. Obviously, because they are very few individuals, there is a lot of competition to gain their attention. So because they have such a specific taste, very special, very refined, normally all the strategies that are used in this sense are the one who are mixing different factors, such as the elevation of the product, the emotion, and also the customer experience. We have a few examples, both national and international. For example, top luxury players like Gucci and Chanel opened by appointment only stores, which are stores that are just accessible for these very important clients, and appointments will be very crafted on the very specific desire or a client. The luxury e-commerce and retailer My Teresa is creating a calendar of with exclusive events that are just not accessible just with money, but with prestige. So the clients are invited at private designer residence that are shows that are just for insider only clients. Everything is very exclusive. Tiffany is pushing on the high jewelry division, so with bespoke design, with a lot of personalization and research of precious gemstones. So the core seems to be like the one of creating very strong and personalized relationship and push this memorable experience to connect much more the brand and the clients, and also create a customer experience that will really stand out about customer. But while we saw that brands like Brunello Cucinelli are growing in this way, this strategy is not always working and showing results. The reason is that a lot of brands connected the pillar of the strategy that are right and appropriate to the moment just with an exponential, incredible rise of prices that in some cases can reach like the 117% more or the 91% more, etc. So when the main strategy should be connected to emotion, values, and very special experience, but then the very superficial part is just connected with a dramatic rise of prices, this is the moment in which problems start to appear. For example, Gucci, even if they tried with this new strategy that is catering just to VIP clients and with exclusive boutique, is still not growing. On the other side, we have a brand like Brunello Cucinelli that from a creative perspective maybe can be considered maybe less original and less creative, but is dramatically growing. And the fact is that there is a strategy that is mixing together unique boutique experience. There is a story connected with the brand that is about ethical values, that is connected with culture, that is connected to preserving artistic heritage, that is connected to philosophy, and so is much more than just beautiful clothing. There is a real commitment with sustainability, that is not just a marketing tool, but is a guiding principle. And also there is a lifestyle that is prevailing and really emerging from all this strategy. We can say that Brunello is a symbol of values and responsible luxury. What is working here is, I took the sentence that the CEO of Loro Piana wrote before, and this can really be applied also to Brunello Cucinelli and also to explain this growth. Brunello Cucinelli existed before quiet luxury and will exist afterwards. And this is, for him, is not about a trend, is about a lifestyle. And like, the offer is not just a strategy to survive the crisis, like in the other cases that we mentioned before of My Teresa or Tiffany. Like, the philosophy of life of Brunello Cucinelli has been forever the quiet luxury. So this is why, even in this difficult scenario, he has proven to be successful, because these are not perceived as a trend that is used to attract new clients or to keep the old one. These are perceived like authentic, the reality of the brand. So we have authenticity, we have coherence that obviously bring values. Is not something cool, is a real, is the DNA of the brand, forever and ever. Regarding the marketing and the communication strategy, we have, for example, a super high attention on quality and craftsmanship. So there are just high quality content connected to the craftsmanship, to the heritage. There is this philosophy of humanistic capitalism in which there is not just profit, but the profit goes hand in hand with the well-being of the people, of the workers, of the planet, and is true since the brand was established, and is also very connected to the real history of Brunello Cucinelli himself. So this is why it's perceived like real. The Made in Italy is the core of all the production, also like of the marketing, and there is a distribution that is really exclusive. There is a very meticulous strategy that is focusing on mono brand and on super selected boutique. Try to always keep in mind that the goal is the one of the aura and of the prestige, and not to reach more people, but to keep that special attitude. They are also super selective in their partnerships and collaboration. All the realities and companies and other suppliers or talents with which they collaborate are very connected to the values of the brand. So maybe you will not find influencers, but you will find artisans, artists, illustrators, or cultural institutions. And so these are not just marketing partnership. These are really connections that are meaningful and useful for the brand, and they will never be perceived as inauthentic. So there will be growth because there will be more realities with which the brand will connect, but they will never affect the brand identity. There is this low-key marketing approach, so everything is based on an understated approach, like less is more. Now we will see later with social media posts, for example. They don't post every day, so the content is also like really meaningful, and they anyway decided to have a digital presence, so in a way that both traditional and modern consumers are able to be connected with the brand. These are, for example, few images that are taken from their Instagram profile. As you can see, everything is very, very refined. There is always this aspect of extreme sophistication, but is never too much. The second image, for example, is a collaboration with an illustrator that creates this digital campaign for the social media. So instead of relying, for example, on an influencer, there is this collaboration with an interesting, also a bit niche artist. Now the selection is always on profiles that are not commercial. These are the images of the campaign. There is this aspect of like minimalism, but anyway, like the excellence is always coming out from the picture. Brunello Cucinelli is also one of the most important brands for when we think about event. They are not doing runway shows, so in this real runway shows, so in this way they can rely on a smaller budget, but for example, they do this beautiful, intimate dinner when they are organizing event. In this case, is a collection presentation this summer in Cap Ferrat in Costa Azzurra. Same for their presentation during the Pitti Uomo in Florence. So the atmosphere is always much more unique. The list of the invitation is much more selected, and we have this idea of something that is much more close to the client, to the stakeholders, to the journalist. If you think about also like the type of products that Brunello Cucinelli is selling, like a presentation in which people can really experience the product, touch it, see the materials, the finishing, the elms, is really what gives like much more quality to the event, because the host can really have like deep dive in what they are seeing. They are also presenting a new series of parfums, so is another sign that the brand is growing and growing. Now, everything connected with Brunello Cucinelli is obviously beautiful, special, and super sophisticated, but obviously we cannot like forget that at the moment the prices are extremely high. So not everyone, especially in this moment of crisis, can afford Brunello Cucinelli. We have to remember that prices go from 2,000 euros, the minimum, maybe less if you are speaking about parfum and glasses, up to maybe 12,000 euros for a cashmere cardigan. So we really are speaking about something that is super top. So what are we missing here? The aspirational consumer, which is a topic that the fashion industry cannot continue to ignore. It's true that the 1% of the VIP clients are making the 40% of the market, but there is still this 60% outside that needs to be addressed. So in this case, up until now, a lot like the aspirational clients were left out of the conversation. What does it mean for the industry? We are already seeing some of the results. So for example, a part of aspirational clients are redirecting themselves to other like areas of the commerce, like for example the beauty or fragrances industries that are experiencing an unexpected growing, or for example the one of the living and interior design. Another part of these clients will unfortunately be diverted to fast fashion. Zara and H&M, for example, are hardly trying to repositioning their brands to make them perceive in a like at a higher positioning in the market. There is, so here, for example, we can see some results from the beauty industry, which is growing, and we can see the last operation of Zara that is trying to repositioning the brand with collaboration with designers, with top photographers, or for example, with top art directors, which is the problem, obviously, that there is a third option that is going to be less impactful and is going to be probably more favorable in the long term, because anyway, like even if like the beauty sector is growing, but products are much more connected with an expiry date, with and with a much more limited use compared to fashion, and also like the fast fashion, we already are seeing the result, and this cannot be the solution. In this case, the third solution, that is the one that is more responsible and probably the one that will be more successful in the long term, is the one of like reconnecting aspirational clients with the premium brands, so the one that are so-called accessible luxury. In Italy, we have incredible examples, which can be Liviana Conti, Aspesi, Erika Cavallini, or Fabiana Filippi. Fabiana Filippi, for example, has a story that is very similar to the one of Brunello, connected to the Umbria region with the Kashmir. Liviana Conti and Erika Cavallini are part of a small group that is connected to the region of Emilia-Romagna, that had always offered good products with a very competitive relationship between price and quality. In other countries, for example, we have in France, we have the success of a brand like Jacquemus, and in the US, Totem can be considered as a case. So we have like insights that are telling that accessible luxury goods market is gonna probably become the fastest growing in 2031. So in the near future. This is another article from Vogue, for example, that says that like these brands are reinventing accessible luxury and are making them more and more desirable. There is obviously a problem with the name, so accessible luxury looks like something maybe less than luxury, so most of the companies prefer to call it premium brand. One of the reasons is important to consider that one of the reasons why these companies are growing is not just because the client is not able to afford the luxury anymore. Obviously, this is a reason, but this is not the solely reason. And this is what is more meaningful in terms of why they are successful and they will be more successful in the future. There are very important values in terms of quality, strategy, and visions that are dominating this kind of market. So, for example, a lot of these companies are much younger compared to the luxury brand. This, in terms of strategy, for example, always means more freedom, because when you have an established brand that is there since 1920, not all the possibilities are always doable, because you have an imagine that you have to maintain. On the contrary, these brands can really be much more dynamic. This is also connected to the fact that in this way they are much more free to experiment more. They can be more creative also in terms of strategies, because all the possibilities are much more open for them. And one of the key points, and this is interesting because this connects us also with one part of the strategy of Brunello Cucinelli, because they don't do fashion shows, but in most of the cases they are doing smaller presentation. They have a bigger part of their budget that can be dedicated to innovative projects. So, for example, to advertising with top photographers or creative director. They can spend more on influencer marketing. They can spend more on special events, meaning that during the year they can do much more smaller events instead of a huge fashion shows, or they can do collaboration during cultural appointments like the Design Week, the Biennale, the Venice Film Festival. So here we can analyze, this is the Instagram page of Liviana Conti. Here you can see a few of the images of winter campaigns. It's interesting to see how we can also, in terms of aesthetic, find the same sophistication of Brunello Cucinelli. No, everything is very refined. Is obviously the price is not the same of Brunello Cucinelli, but still, like, there is this very sophisticated image. As I was saying before, this, for example, is a pop-up store that they opened in San Babila, where they were presenting limited edition products during the Milano Fashion Week, because they just do showrooms presentations. So the buyers and the journalists and were invited to the presentation. For the general audience and for the clients, there was this pop-up stores that was selling flowers and smaller accessory pieces. These are some of the activations that they are doing during the year. So we have Liviana Conti Daily, which is a series of video interview for the social media. We have a collaboration with Lunardelli, that is a glass designer in Venice. So they did a special event in the store with a specific merchandising and decoration. They open a new line of smaller living products, mostly made in ceramics or pottery. So they also have the budget to do brand extension. This is, for example, an event that they were organizing this summer in Capri, that was important to connect with VIP clients, influencer, but also to create a lot of content for the social media. So they spent few days in Capri in a wonderful hotel, and all the invitees then could see the collection in detail. They could visit the Capri store and also had access to unique event, like for example this dinner at the iconic Ristorante Paolino, or the breakfast in Capri. It's interesting that these also, like, obviously these are very few images, but this type of events also allows you to have material for content creation during all the year. The other case, similar price range, maybe a bit higher than Liviana Conti, is Fabiana Filippi. This is the last advertising campaign that was shot by a top photographer in the Fondazione Burri, that is a very beautiful contemporary art museum that has a very sophisticated clientele of cultivated intellectual individuals. If you can, for example, notice, we have a kind of image and style that can even remind us about, for example, the Row or about Céline when the creative director was Febe Filo. After the launching of the campaign, for example, they also did a smaller event in the Fondazione Burri. These are pictures from interior in which they meet with influencers. Normally, both them and Liviana Conti are working with micro-influencers, so they have less follower but more engagement. This is another occasion, for example, to create more communication content. But if you check, these are, for example, few editorial in Italian magazine, like Amica or Italian Vogue, and if you can see, like, the image and the picture is still very elegant, very curated, very beautiful, but at the same time is accessible to a wider audience and client. This is an event they created for a very special collection of jewelry and limited pieces called Fauna. So they did a special presentation. They did a marketing activation in the city with a tram, a branded tram that was circulating around Milan. This is a special event that they did during Milano Design Week, so a special collaboration with the interior designer Matteo Nasini in one of the Milan boutique. And so there is a very interesting series of ideas, of new way of approaching clients, of expanding the target, and also of creating content. Their social media channels are working very well. How I wanted to finish and concluding this this lecture. One of the most important fashion journalists worldwide, Imran Ahmed from Business of Fashion, last week during a podcast says something that really connects with what the examples that we saw today. And he says luxury needs to reorient its focus toward genuine quality and ethical craftsmanship, and away from mass-produced luxury merch fueled by celebrity hype and marketing. The number of K-pop or Thai stars in a show's front row and the amount of media attention they can generate amongst their fandom should not be a key performance indicator for this industry. So this is very interesting, because this can really be like a solution that the industry can have to focus on this very challenging moment. And if we think about it, the brand that we are seeing today are really already going in this direction. So less celebrity, but much more meaningful approach, something more connected with the real value and the real quality of the products. Obviously, we saw Brunello as an example of super top luxury, but there are also these premium brands that are already working in this way and proven to be successful and growing. So this really can be the future for the industry, and an idea and a strategy on which we should all reflect.
Grazie. Perfetto, muchas gracias. Molto interessante, molto interessante. I want to thanks Giulia, because we discussed it before, we share our opinion, and I really care that she could do this presentation because she exactly presented the 3 brands I used to underline, and Liviana Conti was one of the best example in how Italian industry in the premium high quality standard level, which is not considered a super luxury, like the example we had yesterday, because yesterday we had a real example with Eleventi, how they reposition themselves proudly made in Italy with all the difficulties they have it. And they started from the inbound, so the domestic market, and thanks to the culture, they move abroad. So I leave the voice to Arturo, because I'm sure Arturo has some comments around that.
Thank you so much, Orietta. But it's really very interesting, your presentation, Lydia. It's incredible your own environment complains the luxury fashion in Italy. And I have the earlier question: how big must the market budget be? I understand that luxury brands is not only in the design, but in the entire atmosphere. Photographers, market, makeups, artists, location, models, and everyone who participate to the generate environment of the sophisticated, beautiful, the characteristics of this environment. How is the cost? How is the cost, the money to the investment in this process to the position the brands in the environment? Is very cost?
Sorry?
The cost.
The cost. Well,
the cost.
It depends. We go from obviously Brunello Cucinelli, that even if it's not like doing runway show, but invest already like millions in the strategy and also in the production. You have to think that, for example, Brunello Cucinelli also has tons of other projects. For example, if you invest millions in rebuilding the Solomeo headquarters to give it back again to the community in Umbria, he rebuilt the library. On the contrary, a brand like Fabiana Filippi or Liviana Conti, the investment is in like thousands of euros. So maybe the global strategy during a year can be 250,000, diluted in all the different events connected with maybe 10,000 for the global influencer marketing strategy, maybe 50,000-60,000 for the smaller event. So we have obviously like smaller numbers that turn the profit as well are completely different. But Liviana Conti and Fabiana Filippi, for example, are growing like in a way that is very similar to the one of Brunello Cucinelli. Liviana Conti, for example, Fabiana Filippi, for example, almost doubled the sales compared to 2019, and Liviana Conti in a similar way. Obviously, depending on the level of the business, like Viviana
Yes,
we are connected to 80,000 and 70,000 per year,
Yes.
75. So, but it's interesting to see that, for example, if you check the years between 2019 and 2020 and 21, also they were losing very little compared to other brands, probably because the client, even in a problematic moment like the COVID, was still faithful. So this is also interesting to for the analysis. And they have all regained again and are already making more profit after the small pause of COVID. After 2020, they started to regain straight away.
Okay, I open to make to some questions to the participants in this meeting. I don't know if some people have a question. If you don't have a question, I have another question. Well, Juliana, I have a question because I understand the luxury market. In one hand, is the face-to-face. The sales is the face-to-face. Of course, the people need look personal, the garment, touch, presence. And in other hand, the market online is run in the ledger. What is the composition correct to make the price, the share the information, the share the sensibility, the quality? How is the composition correct to in two markets, the online and offline?
So in this case, we have to distinguish a bit the situation because, for example, Italy is still one of the markets in which like shopping offline is not as predominant as other culture, because we have this history of years and years, maybe also always connected to the fact that we have beautiful cities. And so locally, the offline is still prevailing. Globally, most of the customers are much more like willing to also open the online market. It's true that for like this like top luxury player connected with this idea of the quiet luxury, on the website you will never find all the collection. Like Brunello Cucinelli just put very selected pieces, but to really live the experience you still need to go to the stores, because this part of the really like living the experience is much more valuable for that kind of product, because the aspect is still maybe minimal, but maybe there is an incredible finishing in the hems, in the way the label is stitched. You have a lot of, and since they were always working like this, you have a lot of more personalized aspects. So obviously after COVID, the online presence is growing, but and also, like as I wrote it before in the presentation, like Brunello Cucinelli likes to define the store like a sanctuary of the luxury experience. So obviously their choice. On the contrary, for example, the brands like Fabiana Filippi and Liviana Conti, they have the whole collections online. They do sales because their DNA and core business is different.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Juliana. It's very interesting. This composition in the market is fantastic. Well, I open the mic to if some people have a question, please, is the moment. Bernardo, I don't know if you have some questions.
I think we are almost ready for the second session. Can I just maybe try to invite to remain for the second section, because I think the question of Arturo and the answer of Julia was really jumping into the topic of the next section, which will be technology, selling online, offline, retail. And let me say that Julia gave us the right ingredients to understand that related to the retail, now we need to activate the cultural approach. And the cultural approach sometimes is because it's a history, it's historical, it's art, it's specific destination of shopping, so destination of experience. But now I want to thank Julia for the presentation and invite to open the screen our next guest, which is Stefano Galassi of Limitless, so which means without limits. Grazie Giulia, grazie per la tua partecipazione. Se vuoi rimanere, ascolta.
Sì, io rimango.
Ci piace. Let me see if I can see Stefano somewhere, because I see Limitless.
Yeah.
Eccoci qua.
Yeah.
Now we are connected with Dubai.
Hello everyone. Buenas tardes a todos los participantes.
Eccoci.
Es un placer estar aquí hoy. Thank you, Orietta, for the invitation. I'm particularly connected with Mexico. I've been studying there at the Tec de Monterrey when I was 20 years ago, approximately. So kind of my maestria in marketing communication also in Tec de Monterrey. So I'm particularly connected and in love with the country. I'm now based here in Dubai. And what's my journey? Let me give you a few highlights about my backgrounds and what we're going to discuss together. I started my career back in 2005 in design the store for the future for Gucci. So at that time, the challenge was how the store of the future looked like in 2020. And Gucci was one of a kind brand in that time, that much innovative with great vision ahead. Usually luxury brands are not that ahead of their time in innovation and technology, but they are very great creativity and product driven company, right? Because they innovate the product and the collection every 6 months. But regarding technology, that time was something that was very skeptical for the big luxury brands. So, and the reason why I had this challenge is because the new CIO, Chief Executive Officer Gucci at the time, was Robert Paulet, that was coming from Unilever. And Unilever was instead a real innovative company in the market. So long story short, I started my career designing what the store of the future looked like in 2020, combining technology, new concept. And I can proudly say that 90% of the project we launched tremendously failed. Were totally disaster. We launched multiple projects. It was a failure in terms of marketing demand, technology adoptions, millions of loss. Also, the 10% of those projects instead was tremendous successfully, covering largely a great return on investment. So the first lesson learned of my career is fashion and tech are two different languages. So you need to talk two different languages in order to intermediate, to investigate what are the opportunity of the two different words, because there are plenty of opportunities, but you need to master two different languages. And the second great lesson learned I had in my first years of career was in innovation, you need to fail to succeed. But this also part of the mindset, you need to have it. And usually luxury brands don't like it all to fail. They always, of course, like to be always the top on the top. So you need to combine those elements. After that, I joined Accenture as the very first team member of the fashion tech newborn team. Not because I was the smartest, I was the number one. I was simply the first of this team that didn't exist before. Initially, I remember my colleagues, senior partners, they were taking joke of me, you know, like the young boy, what this guy have to do it with this fashion tech, you know, was something that was very much anti-literal. And they were used to say, hey, let's go to having a tour on the toys rooms, on the fashion innovative things of Stefano. Always taking joke of me. Luckily, the direction of the world went in that direction of the digitalization, the omni-channel, the social media, the e-commerce. So I was already there by definition. And then I succeeded in having a quite fast career. I was one of the fastest managing actors in the worldwide, and I became the head of innovation fashion tech worldwide for Accenture. This means from a small room of 20 meters, I realized 2,000 meters square innovation center, first in Milan, then in Chicago, then in Singapore and Tokyo. Traveling around the world, meeting the most important brands internationally. So carrying H&M, Singapore Airlines, anywhere all around the world, multiple events, multiple clients, constantly on the go. So I had the chance to live multiple countries, to have met hundreds of brands globally and big companies, big retailers, and really had the chance to learn a strong and robust methodology in innovation, in technology and strategy with the largest account. But then randomly, after 10 years of great success, I fall in love from innovation to open innovation. Then I will tell you what the big difference is. So, you know, traveling to Tel Aviv or traveling to Silicon Valley or to Shenzhen or Shanghai and Tokyo, the open innovation is everything around not one company doing great things, but the multiple players. University are in the center, you know, technology players. It's enormous. It's multiple companies, multiple actors in an open innovation. Say, wow, this is great. It doesn't exist something similar to fashion tech. I want to create it. So I left Accenture, I left my nice career, I left my nice Range Rover, and I start again from scratch to become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, the first challenge was how to raise few $1 million in order to create the very first ever fashion tech accelerator, B2B, business to business. So the challenge was, let's find out what are the startups in this space, international speaking. I need to search for them, invest money in them, and connect with the brands and see how actually we can work together. Luckily, I succeed in collecting this few $1 million and had important partners like Lorenzo Bertelli, is the second generation owner of Prada, and big other guys, big investors that believe us in my project, my crazy project. From idea become reality, and I had the chance to travel from 12 to 13 cities for 3 months every year. So from Shanghai to New York to Web Summit, to Lisbon, to Madrid, to anywhere, Berlin, anywhere. It was super nice, super challenging, because of course was very intense to discover this company. It was not easy because no one have done this before. We identified 1,000 company in average $8 to $10 million valuation, so not early stage company, a little bit more mature in technology B2B, so not a new brand selling clothes or shoes. B2B technology-driven fashion tech startups applicable to big brands. I met personally 400 at least per year, and finally we select 10 of them every year. We invested, we select the best ones. We brought to Milan from all around the world, and randomly and somehow my dream came true until COVID arrived. Because if you remember, when COVID arrived, outside China, the first Western city to be eaten hard was Milan. And at that time of my life, I just recently opened a beautiful office in Brera. It's a nice neighborhood in Milan, fashion district, by the way, with all those companies from all around the world, from Japan, Berlin, China, US, UK, anywhere. And we were like 50, 60 people working day and night. It was very much an interesting cross-cultural moment in terms of technology, adoption, people, anything. It was great. But then randomly, the COVID arrived, and then day after day, people were disappearing by the office because they were escaping from Milan. The problem for them was not COVID, a global issue. Was Milan? What's going on? What's wrong with Milan? So people were simply disappearing day by day from the office and had very much little things I could do in that time. So I remember one day I came back home, and my wife saw me and said, "Oh, wow, why are you coming back in this early afternoon? You're never early back home." I say, "You know what? There's no one back in the office, like 5, 7 Italian, and the other 50 people are left." I say, "Oh, take your time to be sad, because there's not much you can do in this moment." But in that moment, actually, after a few days of walking 20 kilometers around the city alone, and thinking, I realized another important lesson of my life, that is also part of the discussion we're going to have today, that when you work digital, you need to be digital first. So we shape a full new digital program from scratch. We were almost bankrupt. We were like from 100% to 1%, almost there to the bankrupt. So I had to return money to the investor. It was almost a disaster. But when I took this lesson and say, hey, we can do digital first. And we worked hard for a couple of weeks, day and night, and we created the first digital platform for the acceleration, and turned out to be a great success. And all the startups show up again, and we were from all around the world doing our services. This was the first step. The second one, the brands at that time was totally again not answered to me anymore. They had bigger problems to deal with, not anymore innovation. Say, hey, the store were closed, the COVID, the production, the logistic, the economic crisis. They couldn't talk with me anymore, and it was a problem. At a certain moment, not likely, but the problem they have, we had the solution. So the company started calling me back, say, hey, Stefano, we need to present Saint Laurent. No, it was not Saint Laurent, it was Givenchy collection in Paris. But the city is in lockdown. The collection is in Milan. We don't know how to bring the product over there. The buyers cannot travel there. How we should do? Say, hey, you know what the solution is? Digital showrooms. Oh, wow. And then they call me, the website, that we have 500 or 2,000 retail associates stuck at home. We are paying a salary. And for the moment, there is a lot of traffic on e-commerce, but we are not providing the same level of experience. You know what the answer is? Virtual sales assistant. With this platform, you can connect people from their home to support the luxury ceremony online, and so on and so forth. So after 3 years of rolling coaster, I learned multiple lessons. I also learned another hard lesson. Early stage startup cannot really provide powerful service to big brands, because by definition, they're too small. So I learned this lesson and say, hey, I had a lot of fun. I sold my equity of the holding, because you hold shares of every startup you've been investing. Luckily, again, I did a nice exit, economically speaking. So I had a chance to having a nice resource in my pocket. And I decided to take a break and to reopen another company. Nowadays, I open Limitless Innovation. This is basically why I'm telling all this, my personal life, career journey, because limitless is the proven fact that failing is a way to succeed in the end. And then it doesn't matter of time you, especially all these lessons. So the combination business model limitless is a combination between Gucci, plug and play, digital acceleration, and Accenture. These are, today we are, Limitless is an open innovation advisory firm, which drive innovation for the largest luxury brands in the world, but also, if you ask me, also for smaller brands, we're gonna now open, because there is not all Gucci and Valentino in the world. So we also now opening a business unit for brands from $20 to $200 million to also support small and medium brands. And we support them in driving innovation in every channel through open innovation. So means, let me give you very practical example. All right, Stefano, nice journey, bravo, but what does it mean for us? Okay, let's start with very practical. Then I will show you some slides, but maybe I'd like to go more practical, right? So there are multiple challenges in the fashion value chain. As you were known, the fashion is a sector, it's an industry. So you need to design, having the textile, sourcing the material, do the logistic, do the production, do the creativity, the warehouse, the store assortment, the merchandising, the store assortment, the catwalk, the retail, the e-commerce, the social media, and so on, the traceability. If you take the entire fashion value chain, what we do, we take the most advanced technology in the world. Artificial intelligence, nowadays, metaverse, VR, spatial computing, blockchain, 3D prototyping, and so on. And we work in this intersection. A clear part of the fashion process, design, with a clear technology, 3D. What the design with 3D could be useful for? Wow, I can also design in 3D using Crow 3D. So this means I accelerate my creativity processes, but also my production. So I don't need to produce all my sample. So I reduce cost and I speed up the processes. Nice. What 3D can do for e-commerce? Oh, why? I could engage my customer not with any more flat picture, but with made-to-measure 3D digital twins in order to provide a better experience to personalized product. Great. What 3D could be useful after I sold my product? Wow, if I had created a digital twin, the 3D replica, I can actually connect this 3D replica to my digital passport, the label with RFID technology, and I create a unique identity of my product to track the traceability. This is one of 3 examples out of 67 interceptions that we constantly search for. And this, we are kind of working in deep dive what the market needs, what the brand's challenges are, what the solutions are, and how to adopt those solutions to go faster, better, more efficiently, to create more customer engagement. All of this is we're trying to do innovation generate impact, economically speaking. It's not simply, don't think about us like we do metaverse, cool things, and that's it. Yes, also, but not really our cup of tea. We do innovation driven. What's the business case? How we can support the big guys to go better. Nowadays, for instance, what's happening? The luxury have an important moment of downturn. But so what is needed? Cost reduction processes. How can use AI to optimize my merchandising so I reduce the cost allocation of my store allocation of my buying processes? How can use AI to generate photo shooting? Listen to this, photo shooting. Everyone needs to do the photo shooting for the campaign, for the commerce, for the catalog. But instead to use $100,000, I use $50,000 and do faster and better results. So all this is what we are working on in this moment with Lanvin, Valentino, Armani, Bulgari, Moncler, all those brands. But in reality, what we learn also that also smaller brands need to get access to this cultural solution. And what's the difference? Being us open innovation, working with us, it's kind of, I don't know how many of you have heard about Accenture. Raise your hands just so I see if it's something familiar to you as a company. All right, few of them. 600,000 employees, $40 billion turnover. They are leading in anything about innovation technology in every space, from hospital to tobacco, oil and gas, fashion, retail. I learned a lot, but they are huge and big. So they need big projects, millions and millions of projects, right? We do exactly the opposite. This is innovation, and they do great. But we do open innovation. We do more scale up. We take the challenges, and in a matter of 12 weeks, we deliver projects in order for you to gain margin, to gain speed of the market. And this could be done faster and cheaper. Why? Not because we are the best in the world. We're trying to be the best in the world, but simply because we work as an open innovation. So it means I don't need to charge you 10 times more what's my cost market. But so having myself doing this project 20 times, I know the best way to do it. So if you work with us, we are not your consultant, we are innovation partner to make this journey faster. And this brings me today here. So today, obviously, and we are active in Milan, Miami, Dubai, Paris, London, not yet in Mexico, honestly. That is a pity. I have to recover this because my heart is still also in Mexico. So I would love to, and this is why I'm also very happy for the Orietta invitation. So the point here is now instead I can spend like hours to tell you what Louis Vuitton is doing, or what Gucci is doing, or what you need, whatever. I could literally spend hours and hours and hours giving you academic lesson, which I'm also teaching Bocconi, Cambridge, or the university. But being you entrepreneur, I would rather spend the rest of the time, if Rita agree, in discussing real challenges, real problem, real opportunities, and then really open discussion, not in a question and answer, but hey, how we can do this, how we can make it happen, what's my problem today in my company. But also, when you disagree, it's even better, because when you are not really convinced of the power of innovation technology, could be even better, because this is where actually the power can be even more impactful. So if you like, I'll leave you wide space of any challenging question, curiosity, to take it and then elaborate together.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stefano, because of course I knew that he could explain one topic. I knew for sure that Arturo has some questions, but I want to put one insight. And I want to explain you why I met Stefano. So in that case, since I curated the content and the selection of all of these experts and specialists, I want to say we are talking in this session about how Italian fashion industry leads internationally with big and small brands, and how they face the challenge. Stefano is one of these examples, honestly. We met and then we spent some time, and I want to talk about the latest big, huge event that I want to expose. It was in Dubai. My first day, I was talking about consumer behavior, and I was talking about the ability of Italian brand to tackle and understand and try to even guess what the future consumer want. So Dubai is one of the biggest locations, it's one of the biggest area. And in Dubai, it was GTEx, one of the biggest events, maybe the biggest one, talking about technology. It was GTEx Global, and there are also other types of session. And Stefano with his team, young Italian team, because most of them, they were Italians, they had the ability to bring Italian and French and UK luxury brands. That they were there because that is the market. They understand that their storytelling has to be more, let me say, more on the page of that typology of consumer. So it was very important to listen Valentino, to listen Lambert talking about artificial intelligence, to listen Cartier making watches, to listen really different voices of big brands that, as Stefano said, and also Julia said before, it's not an easy life for them now. It's very difficult because the consumer is technology. Use technology, eat technology, speak technology. They want to buy something that it's challenging, but the retail scenario and the technology is really super connected. So I have a question to Stefano, which is, you have the ability to bring these people into the conversation, and you was the person giving to them the opportunity to know that customer, which is the Middle East, and not only, and also know which technologies can be the key part. How do you deal with these big brands? Just how they are facing this huge investment in mindset, education, training their people, and even training their consumer.
Great, thank you for the question, and thank you again to really create this opportunity of contamination. I mean, as we say, it's not a good market moment, but the most powerful house are investing when the market goes slow down. LVMH, that everyone knows to be the largest and most important luxury group in the world, they started innovation journey with startup and technology 9 years back, investing hugely in all the projects I mentioned before, in every direction, for every Maison. All the Maison they are 73 luxury Maison brands. So the company that in general years back have invested the highest percentage of this kind of mindset, as correctly Arietta mentioned, but also solution platform, are the one today are in the better position into the market. It's not only that, obviously, but I have to say that so innovation and technology can become a key differentiator factor. So initially, the French group have created a value through the financial resources to collaborate. Italians were not able to do this by their own. The French managed to create a large luxury group, right? And this was great. And then thanks to the financial power position, they also financial top executive management, better vision lead to a better decision on investment in technology innovation, better compared to the other company brands that were alone. And ultimately, this also led them in a better customer acquisition and market shares acquisition in the long run. And ultimately, those companies also created their own technology platform. Aura blockchain is a technology created mostly by LMH, but then recently also by other groups, in which is a new way to gathering innovation position into the market. So if you create the most, it's like, imagine you guys, you create Microsoft for fashion, and everyone else in the world use your system. You are taking an innovation position compared to your peer around the world. So they use technology innovation to acquire even more stronger position into the market. And they were very smart in doing this. So many brands are still very behind this level of knowledge and adoption. And they're still very behind. So also in terms of management skills, but they're now waking up and they realize they need to invest hugely in order to gain the lost path, the lost time. And this specifically back to the articulated question of Rietta, the technology business is not the first point. The very most important aspect is the cultural mindset. That's it. If you don't first invest in education, this is why we have created also our business unit called B2 Luxury Innovation Academy. We don't do projects in academy. We do help people to understand what's going on in the world. What are the solutions? What are the challenges? How are the brands are taking this problem ahead? And the academy is a great way for brands, also smaller, to get aware about the executive, the leader, the owners, but also the middle management to be aware and to try to look at themselves and say, wow, I didn't know I had a problem. And now I know what the problem is. And maybe I don't know yet the solution, but now I'm aware there are solutions of my challenge. And that all the company have taken this journey. So the mindset, cultural approach is definitely by far the most important things. From top down, but also from bottom up. Because I remember when I told you I failed many times, also when I was in Gucci, but I failed hundreds of times working with thousands of projects. Because if you don't involve people, also the sales assistant, in telling them why they should do this, why we're doing this project, what is the gain, what's the better improvement, what are the KPIs and so on, the project will crash. So you need to also having the top people, the entrepreneur like you, embrace. So go through the journey. And then the board of directors, but then also the bottom up people that are on the ground that need to be embarked and need to also believe that this journey could bring them in different ways. The very first time I mentioned to a top luxury brands, the social media were coming, were more than 15 years ago, 16 years ago. I was with this 68-old, very important senior executive. I was the youngest person in the room. I used to be very much often the youngest person in every room where I was sitting, because he was like top executive, top partner from Accenture Worldwide, and was always the youngest. And once I say, and my role was, telling him what's next, how using the things, also many years ago. And at a certain moment to say, hey, social media coming, people will embracing social media will be a big revolution. And the guy working in important luxury jewelry and accessories and watchmaker brand look at me and say, hey, young guy, maybe you need to come back to study university, and then because you really are not getting what really luxury is. Sorry. This is my opinion. Maybe it will be wrong, but I think social media is already a thing now. It will be a big impact. I almost been fired that day. I had to fight to keep my role, but then also my partner learned that maybe to innovate, you need also to embrace the change. And then we all know social media not really disappear. And this client, currently that guy is my client. So somehow we build a nice trust. after 20, 16, 17 years here. But the point is, you need to go through discomfort where you are the best entrepreneur knowing what your company needs. Now, maybe you need to go through a discomfort moment when you need to discover there are some other ways to do your job better. But no one needs to come to teach you how to do your job. It's simply a way to how we create the best algorithm, the best solution to make this actually happen. It could be on e-commerce, on social media, customer engagement, traffic control, traffic in the conversion rate. It could be merchandising. It could be the store of the future. It could be how you design your collection. It could be any part of the company, including HR and finance, could be improved, digitalized, and had better efficiency. This is a matter of fact. The only point is accept and go through this journey, and this journey with the right people. Need to be also need a dialogue, need to be a discussion, need to be a stimulation. So my really 2 cents today here, I have no right, I'm not coming here to teach nothing to no one, especially to great entrepreneur, but simply say there is a way to do it better together. Together means not with me, but with 1,000 other people doing things around the world. They are there. You may don't know they exist, but they exist, and they're doing great things. And big luxury brands now are finally understood this. But also part of our mission, we are currently working with the Made in Italy government minister, and this is something. It's a big project, but we want also support smaller entrepreneur to get access to this knowledge, because we don't want to create this innovation digital. How you call it, distance gap between among the company has money and can invest, and company have manufacturing know-how, great product, great history, heritage, and have no financial resources because they are small to understand what's going on. We believe this digital divide or gap is not fair, and this is why we are now moving in this direction.
That's good. That's very interesting, and I think it's really connected to what we are talking right now. Now we talk about Mexico, Mexican manufacturer, Mexican know-how, different region, different area of Mexico, and this is the topic of the discussion today. So get inspired by others, work together. So work together in team, educate your team. Otherwise, the project fails. For big brands and small brands. That's always a very good topic. And I like to bring this into the conversation when we talk about made in Italy, because most of the time you think made in Italy is made by hand, like in Mexico, hecho a mano. See, hecho a mano, but I need the technology around. Could be on the process, could be on the communication, could be on the retail, could be on so many different aspects. Consumer in Mexico, consumer in Latin America, Europe, Asia, what else? Need technology. Arturo, do you have any question? Do you have any alignment you wanna make? La tua voce al microfono.
Excuse me. Well, I have a two question, but I think it's more important if some people in the meeting have a question. I open the meet. If some people have a question. Okay. Well, Stefano, today I know a idea that I will include in my residence journal. Innovation must fight to be innovation. It's a great idea. I really learned this idea for me. Well, and my question, I know in the chamber, some brands, Italian brands come to Mexico. For example, en Encuentro Creativo. Encuentro Creativo is some relation, some brands in Italy come to Mexico and explore the people. This event in Mexico comes to Sound Dynamics serve as a sign concept. Aquí, Claudia, ayúdame un poquito. Vienen marcas italianas a identificar talento mexicano. ¿Qué hacemos para que ese talento mexicano pueda implementarse un modelo similar al que nos comentó Estefano y poder hacer esos desarrollos para aprovechar y detonar marcas mexicanas con el talento mexicano?
Okay, well, yeah.
No, te entiendo perfectamente. He estudiado en texto, entiendo. No hablo perfectamente, pero lo entiendo perfectamente. Pues, el talento mexicano es claro y el hecho en mano, como decía también Orieta antes, es una de las peculiaridades del mercado de fashion, distribuidores, de creadores de marca de fashion y de textile en México. Me imagino que se tiene que hacer con un desarrollo de la capacidad de las personas y del equipo de ejecutivo que tienen la fuerza de decidir elegir los proyectos. Y entonces no creo que en México le falta nada en el sentido de la creación, de la creatividad o del textile o también del mercado, del size, de la medida del mercado interno. Creo que simplemente puede ser inspirado para aprender un modelo de negocio distinto que está también basado sobre la tecnología de innovación dentro de los sectores industriales. No solo quiere decir hacer un marketing o un e-commerce, pero también se puede desarrollar proyectos que te hacen hacer un valor de marca, un valor de industria más rápido, con menos gastos de recursos naturales, de personas. Entonces, al final, si tú eres más eficiente utilizando la tecnología en tu claro distribuidor, ¿cómo se dice? En tu proceso de creación de valor, el dibujo, el textile, la distribución, en todo, utilizando la tecnología, está un montón de tecnología disponible también a bajo costo que puede ayudar también a las empresas mexicanas a hacer un salto de calidad también más rápido, porque es más importante tener la mentalidad que no tener simplemente los recursos económicos para hacerlo. Eso es mi understanding, mi comprensión de lo que veo entre el mercado en México y en otra economía que se puede desarrollar también mejor.
Muchas gracias, muy interesante. Realmente creo que ese es, I think this detonate to the growth in Mexico because the manufacturing in Mexico is good. Big manufacturer in Mexico is one. Is the first supply to the USA market, to all of Latin America, but it's necessary this chance to the mind. It's very important. Thank you so much, Stefan.
Mucho gusto. Mariana, ¿qué tal?
Hi, Stefano. Ahí estamos, ¿no? Yeah. Hi, Stefano. Sorry. Well, thank you very much for this. It's really, really interesting. And here I'm with my graphic designer, and she has a question for you. If you can recommend any software or any tools for 3D design. Like we have one of our brands is made to measure men's shirts. So, you know, in order to create or add the fabrics to the sketches to make it more realistic, no? That's your question. So if you have any tools or software or anything that you can recommend that we can try and help us, you know, develop this kind of collections or garments.
Sure. First of all, the basic of the 3D product creation should be Clo 3D. Clo 3D is an international platform that is now largely used by also the big brands. And Clo 3D help to both from the design office and also the production, trying to create a kind of 3D digital channels among the different departments. This is a basic but fundamental tool. Just to give you an idea, Hugo Boss have 80% of the collection on digitalized 3D. Some of the brands just at 5%. This is something that will be increased for the sector time by time. Then there are multiple other vertical solutions for fashion, for the made-to-measure. I can mention another Italian company. This is the Clothes American company or German company. While another one could be useful for the made-to-measure is Future Clo. It's a Italian-based startups. Where they work with based on the district of Le Marche. Le Marche is famous because they have multiple small shoes producer from 2 million to 100 million producer, or for other brands. So they needed the made-to-measure tool also to propose the product to the market. The Future Clo, and there is also Future Fashion that actually they are quite good solution. You can get them, so not for a high price ticket. The point is, what we do for every department, there are different company. We have to connect and to activate the project fast, soon, and cheap. This is actually what we do. But I hope if you can check these two companies, it's already a good start.
Can you please repeat the names or maybe type them on the chat?
Clo,
Okay.
CLO 3D, Clo 3D.
3D.
The other one, Future Fashion. It's Italian Le Marche district based company.
Thank you very much. I got them. Thank you.
Big pleasure. What do you do, Mariana? How big is your company?
Well, we are around 400 people, but we have 3 different brands. Our main brand, we do personal protection garments. That's mainly technology for people that are at some kind of risk, like a flash fire or an arc flash. And that's our main business. That's the biggest brand that we do. And then we have this small brand. It's 15 years now, and it's really beautiful, but it's not a big production for these made-to-measure men's shirts, you know, like dress and casual and any style of men's shirts, and also guayaberas. I don't know if you're familiar since you live in Mexico, but it's dress shirt, very traditional, and that we do with fair trade, with artisans, with local artisans, embroidery artisans. So there are very unique and special pieces made to measure. Each piece is quite different. Well, but now we are selling in Amazon handmade, and it's going good. We just started, and it's going good. And then
nice.
we have another brand which is just 1 year we created, and it's upcycled, in which we upcycle denim. So
there is a specific. There are. This is another topic. Influencer for sustainability in fashion. I think you should also communicate better your brands on a specific niche. So if you like to reach me, and then I can give you some other suggestion also for your upcycling brand. Why, thank you, Claudia. You find the right company in a few seconds. Very efficient, brava. If anyone wants to have any other advice, suggestion, no charge here. So
thank you so much. So yes, I'll ask Arturo or Orietta later for your contact.
Yes, we can also. I think I can also suggest to share your contact here if you like. If it's
Happy
good,
to do so.
People can connect. We like it because, of course, it's a big topic and we learn every day, everything. Grazie.
Ignacio, please.
Ignacio.
Hello, Stefano. Hello. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting. I have one question. You mentioned there are many technologies throughout the different stages of retail fashion and production and development and everything. And how do you integrate all these technologies into one system or one ERP? Is there a solution to this problem? Because you can have 20 different suppliers of different technologies, and it becomes crazy to manage them all. Is there a technology, I don't know, like SAP or Oracle or an ERP that can integrate most of them? Maybe an open how do you say open
source, open innovation.
Open source technology.
Right. It's more complex.
Your point of view of this topic?
It's a very, I mean, the reality, the majority of companies have been built on old IT systems that were not prepared to all this new evolution of the technology. So usually the IT ERP rarely speak with an innovative solution. So they are there. This is they want to do here, fast. This is solid, robust, but also old system. There are systems that work better, but it's a lot of investment to come from here to there. So what my suggestion is sometimes totally skip the existing legacy system and go much more faster because their technology can be applicable even without the full IT integration. And you can actually having, instead to wait for Rome to be built, because otherwise you need to build a new Rome of legacy system. But it takes years and millions of investment compared to your company size. What we suggest is vertical plug-in, real fast solution project that can give you results in a short time. Then if you like it, then you think about, you do opposite. You don't start to build the foundation first and then you do the solution, because otherwise you need to wait 2 years and then you will be dying waiting for something will happen. But our approach is, is the opposite. You start by the end, and then if you succeed, you see some nice number, you scale, and then you take it this with a middleware that helps you to integrate faster. It's a complex question, but I try to give you a quick answer.
Okay, thank you, Stefan.
But we do this kind of project all the time.
Basta.
Muy bien, no sé si haya alguna otra pregunta. La verdad es que súper interesante los conceptos que nos está compartiendo Stefano, ese cambio de mentalidad, esa integración tecnológica, esa visión por hacer crecer los negocios a partir de la inversión. Creo que es súper interesante. No sé si haya alguna otra pregunta, alguien más quiera hacer algún comentario, nos encantaría poder escucharlos.
Mi sa que estaba excelente.
Creo que está bien. En toda manera, creo que también se necesita tiempo también por absorbir esos conceptos y también preguntarse a sí mismo. La mejor cosa que uno puede hacer al final de esta sesión es preguntarse a sí mismo dónde se encuentra, a dónde soy today con mi empresa, cuáles son mis principales prioridades, challenges de business, y dónde me encuentro respecto al líder que hace de innovación y tecnología su main enabling the technology powerful solution. So I believe that everyone is his own path, not behind, not ahead. Everyone is his own path. But my only suggestion is really check yourself where you are and what are primary other solutions that could be used tomorrow.
Infatti. Io direi muchas gracias. Thank you, really.
Muchas gracias. Encantado.
Encantado. Thank you, because we had this injection of technology and Italian savoir-faire. I want to put this, Italian savoir-faire. So that's also the other aspect. We will meet the next, let me say, the closing Our closing section will be on the 12th, which will be our last session. And then, Stefano, just for you to also to know, the group of entrepreneurs will travel physically to Italy next year, next spring. So I think will be absolutely another good opportunity to touch and to see and to meet people and to deep dive into the Italian business model, which is an Italian flavor with an international mindset, come Stefano e come Giulia. Grazie per il tuo tempo, Stefano, veramente tantissimo.
Grazie mille, grazie a voi.
Grazie
Thank
a
you,
tutti.
everyone. Muchas gracias, que le vaya muy bien. Y cuando quieras, aquí estoy.
Anche para mí, que le vaya muy bien y buenas tardes, buenos días, buen weekend. Grazie Giulia, grazie Arturo, muchas gracias a todos.
Hasta luego, muchas gracias a todos.
Perfetto. Io rimango un secondo.